Okay, we're going to look at some of the main structures of the eye and the eyeball. Let's look at some of the muscles that control the eye first. So here's the nose, which means this is medial. So this is the medial rectus. On the other side, we have the lateral rectus. And on top, we've got the superior rectus. And inferior is the inferior rectus. And then we have two oblique muscles. We have a superior oblique and inferior. We've got an inferior oblique muscle. Okay, and what we see on the outer portion is the connective tissue layer, the tough coat. We've got the white sclera, and we have the cornea. So now we're going to look at the eyeball, where we can see again the white sclera and the cornea. That's connective tissue. That is the outer protective covering. And if we take that outer covering off, we then get to the middle layer, which is the choroid. And what we can see here is the iris, that's the colored portion. And the hole here is the pupil, where light comes through the lens into the pupil. And if I take this and separate that choroid, we can see the vascular layer here, so we can see the choroid layer. And this vascular layer is made up of the choroid. This is choroid. The choroid then becomes this portion here, which is the ciliary muscle or ciliary body, which has very ruffled tip portion. And then we've got the iris. So again, we've got the choroid, then we have the ciliary body, and then the iris. And what ends up happening is, if I take this section off, we can see the ciliary body. The ciliary body has an extension off of it called the suspensory ligament. And the suspensory ligament actually holds the lens. This structure here is the lens, and it holds the lens in its place. We have a suspensory ligament that would be here off this ciliary body, and a suspensory ligament coming off here, this ciliary body, both connecting and holding the lens in its place. Okay, so if I remove the lens, in here is where we have aqueous humor, that fluid. Here is the vitreous humor in the posterior segment. Here is the anterior segment. Here is the posterior segment. And then in the back, we've got the neurological layer. Here's the optic disc. And then we have our blind spot called the fovea centralis. And that brings the eye to a close. Let's look at the ear. And the outer portion of the ear is called the pinna, and the sound waves come in to the external auditory canal. The sound waves come in and hit the membrane or tympanic membrane and creates a vibration or resonance to it that then oscillates and sends a vibration to the bones. The bones are the malleus, the incus, and then the stapes. So again, we've got the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. And the stapes attaches to the vestibule by way of the oval window. And when this stapes transmits that vibration to the oval window onto the vestibule, it actually sends a vibration and resonance into this. And there's fluid in here. There's fluid in these semicircular canals. These are called semicircular canals. This is called a cochlear. And this portion of the ear deals with your sense of balance and equilibrium. And this portion, the cochlea portion, deals with your hearing. So the nerve that goes to this structure is called the vestibular cochlear nerve. The vestibular portion going to the vestibule for balance, the cochlear to the cochlea portion that deals with the hearing. And every time you move your head in different positions, the fluid in here moves in different positions that's stimulated by these hair-like structures in there. and it sends sensory input to your brain and lets you know what position your body is in. It helps send proprioceptive information to your neural system. Okay, and that brings the ear to a close. Hope you find this helpful.